welcome back to episode 4 of the .gg podcast. Let's jump straight into it. Right, Jeremy? Right, Patrick?
Oh,
yeah. Cool. So, first up, PRB spoilers. Very exciting stuff. Here we've got, what is this, an SR Luffy? Green character, 4-cost 5k power, 1k counter. Your turn on play. If your leader is multicolored and your opponent has 7 or less Dawn cards on their field, at the start of your opponent's main phase, your opponent rests one of their active Dawn cards. So I think this is a very new interaction with specifically targeting the main phase.
Yeah.
One thing it's like, I just love being a rules nerd about this, which is like they made this so it's different from Bonney, where I was like, I thought to myself just now, like, why don't they just make it so the Dawn doesn't restand? But this prevents it from having a situation where if someone, like when I'm playing Buggy into GY Law, in order to stop a 5-cost fine from resting or keeping my Dawn rested, I attach all Dawn to my Buggy and swing, so I can use leader ability next turn.
Yep.
This actually once again circumvents that, where you can't, even if your Dawn is attached, you can still stun a Dawn basically. So I realized that's why they worded it this way. So I think that's really interesting. I was like, why did they word it this way?
Yeah, it's funny because I like that. I kind of like that interaction. So I'm sad to you kind of lose it.
Yeah.
In a sense, because I love all those little and that's a new one that's kind of really come up recently with like GY Law in the meta and even like Bonney as well. Like you have to really play around that. And I feel like it's kind of interesting that they're going this route. I feel like we're kind of getting like into like, I dare say like Yu-Gi-Oh territory, where there's just like all these different like layered rulings on top of one another to like circumvent this thing. And it's like, oh, well, we don't want them to actually be able to like get around this. So now we add this, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It adds like a lot of complex knowledge to the game. But it's definitely, I thought, I too was like pondering the wording for a second and then realized that, that's the reason they've kind of introduced this new way of resting Dawn.
And you're
yeah, it is like a 4-cost 5k with only 1k counter, so it's a nice way to balance out the effect and make it so you only want to play it for very niche interactions, right?
Yeah.
To take your opponent off curve, and the fact that it has to be 7 or less, which is also very interesting too. I mean, like I would assume you wouldn't want to play this when your opponent has a ton of Dawn to work with, or maybe it's meant to hold it back from stunning your opponent from playing 10 drops, which can be too powerful almost, right? Like if you're doing that for 4 Dawn, that can become too powerful. So lots of like really interesting like subtle nuances they added to this card, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, people are saying that it would be good for GP Luffy. I'm still kind of on the fence about that, because actually I do think like as GP you would want to actually hit them at higher Dawn curves. But like famously GP Luffy has kind of these nice little 4 Dawn turns where they don't have much to do. I mean, on 4 Dawn you're either searching or on your turn after, like on your 6 Dawn turn, you're playing Zanji Pudding and then playing a 4-drop, which seems like a very powerful thing to be able to do. I'm still not actually sure that there's room in GP for this card, but I think that seems to be like one of the key uses would be in GP Luffy.
Yeah, this is Supernova typing, right? Yep, Supernova Straw Hat, so it's also a GUI piece too, which is interesting. No, I think I really like in Green's color identity that they're trying to really shape into. I thought I saw it a lot more in Smoker, like RG Smoker and Green Purple Luffy, where they're really like, oh, Green's whole thing is about Dawn manipulation, either restanding more Dawn so you have more resources to work with in a given turn, or like messing with your opponent's Dawn count by just like 1. So that 1 adjust can sometimes be so annoying. That it's kind of cool seeing them lean into a bit more. And
I mean, it is kind of cool too, as this like, when you see like GP and you see GY Law, these decks that kind of like, I feel like they play close to the ground. Like they're really on edge. Like GY is taking its own life and accelerating the gameplays. GP is doing the same kind of thing. Like I do see cards like this as really playing to the strengths of those decks. You're holding your opponent wants to stabilize in a lot of cases, and you're kind of stopping them from kind of getting their board together or getting all the pieces together so they can stabilize. So you're kind of prolonging what they want to do while establishing your board. So it's neat. It's very neat.
Yeah. Cool. I love it.
Next up, we've got Lucky Roux. 4-cost 2k, 1k counter. It's a blocker, and on play you may trash 1 character card with 6,000 or more power from your hand to draw 2 cards. This is pretty sweet. It helps. I mean, for some reason, whenever I play against Shanks, they often have all the cards that they need, but it is tricky to actually get that consistently. So this helps a lot with.
Clearly, you weren't playing against me as Shanks, because I never draw the cards. This is like exactly what I need as Shanks. I either draw like all my Rayleighs or none of them.
No, this is like, I love card filtering like this, and I especially love when it's like thoughtful like this, where like there's a deck building aspect to it too. It's like, oh, do you have enough 6K or higher in order to make this like usable and stuff? It's not leader locked, so it's very open deck building tool piece. But yeah, I love filtering, and especially for a deck like Shanks, which can have a bunch of breaks or have a bunch of cards that I don't need this right now, and like all these 6,000 higher power level cards. Like, I think this is just a really cool toolbox piece. Like, I'm not sure if it's gonna it doesn't make or break the deck, but we're seeing more and more this go wide strategy with Bandai. Right? So let's give a bunch of different tools. This is balanced to me.
Yes.
So I love it.
Totally. And like I like Shanks. Like I feel like the pool for Shanks is so cool. He still doesn't, like in the current meta, I don't think he really has a place. But I'm just liking the way the pool of Shanks cards is really getting fleshed out, and some of like the weaknesses of the deck are getting addressed in ways that don't feel too broken. But I do think, like deck building with Shanks has been really fun, and having cards like this just makes it even more fun.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of the worst feelings is just having your whole hand bricked.
Yep.
I think every color and every leader should have options to cycle. And I think it's only the promo Shanks that they have right now that can cycle, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because like in red hair typing, that's the only one. Because like I've seen people use Rayleighs, like the blocker one, to cycle, but that's like there's so many conditions to fulfill. It's not searchable.
Yeah. That was like a good, it was like a way to cycle against Dofi is what it felt like. It was really like, because they had the bodies out early enough that you could actually cycle. Right now, I feel like that really is just like on 10 Dawn, you drop it to stay alive. Yeah. But it's not really like fixing your hand early on or anything.
Which like this can do. So
that makes sense. Jewelry Bonney, green character, 3 cost, 3k power. 1k counter, it's a blocker on your opponent's attack. Once return, you can set up to one of your Dawn cards as active. It's great. Yeah. It's like a mini Bonney setting up the leader effect, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to say, spoilers. She's a child, you filthy animals. You with your mats? Yeah, you know who you are. I'm kidding, but like,
but you're not. You're really not.
I've seen some of you locals.
She's one of the characters where, like, I feel like TCG only players, when they get like the really like great Bonney mats, you're kind of like, I'm just not going to tell them.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Okay, but the card.
Yeah, I don't know how. Like, I guess there's room for it. I mean, you could just like. I'm thinking like, is this just better than Roux? Like, do you just swap? Like, I mean, Roux has a better stat line, but of course you can sneak this in.
Yep.
On more odd like Dawn curves, and when you're using things like Cavendish to restand Dawn, it might slot into places where Rouge wouldn't. And I know a lot of lists right now are running 4 Rouge for that going second curve.
Yep.
So I don't know if you might just make a little swap, because as Bonney you really aren't like so worried about like swinging Rouge or like losing that stat line. So I'm curious if that would be something that we might see.
I'm wondering if this is one of the reasons for why they're doing this as like an Rouge alternative. Is I'm noticing the 3 Dawn stat line, and I was going to say this earlier about the Luffy too, and about how green's color identity is changing. I'm noticing fewer really oppressive green bombs in the game.
Right.
It's almost like they really want you to play towards green instead of playing one really huge unit. They want you to actually break your turn into 2, like a 3-7 split.
Right.
Right? Like impactful 7s, like they want you to start playing the 7 cost Bonney. They want you to play Hody more often.
Yeah.
That this actually on your 10 Dawn turn slots a lot nicer with your 7 drops. This, even if it's on its own not that amazing, does it start to make 7 drops in Bonney more aggressive? Like, could you start playing 7 cost blocker kit even? But where you're like, oh, if you do this plus this, that's actually a really good turn. Like,
that's great.
On 10 Dawn, if you Hody and play this and have 1 Dawn for leader ability, that's actually really good defense.
Yeah. When I think too, like that 7 cost Bonney is actually really good. I've been testing it. And again, it's like, the problem is that you usually don't have something great to do with the other Dawn. But as you're saying, if you can stun something, right, like anything, and then set up a blocker, which means next turn when you play Kid, you play another blocker, and now you're walled up. That's really what Green and Bonney specifically wants to do. So this is another tool that can help with that. And again, it's just like, I like these little pieces that you can slot in that kind of advance your game plan.
Yeah, and like you can start. I will love to see people just running different ranges of decks for Bonney and all the decks in general, like early game, mid game, late game Bonney, like 3 different versions of it.
I mean, what is like Bandai's on fire? Like I love so many of these cards.
Yeah.
Like recently, I've been loving Bandai because they've been taking existing colors and like decks that people have been playing for a long time, like Bonney, like Shanks, and they've been adding support that just widens the deck.
Yeah.
I love it. I never actually expected this to happen.
Yeah.
It's so great from a deck building perspective. And like, like playing Bonney this week, I'm not a Bonney player, but I was just doing some testing and it's like, there's so many options. There's so much to test that I find myself, I have to go like consult a Bonney player and watch a Bonney and see what are people thinking. And they're like, well, here's 4 different deck lists with like, depending on what you want on your day. And I love it. I love seeing support for old colors that's relevant.
Yes.
I will call out one technical difference here between something like this and something like a Roux is that this is on opponent's attack.
Yes.
While a Roux does restand at the end of your turn. So they could remove this and you'll never get to use this.
Yes, that's true. Yep.
Something to watch out for.
Yep.
I love the thoughtfulness of the reaction. Like the fact that someone can play around this, I love that. Yeah.
Here we've got Ace and Sabo and Luffy. That's a very unique name. It's not Ace, Sabo, or Luffy. It's all of them together. Red character, 1 cost, 1k power, 2k counter. That's awesome. The faction here is only Goa Kingdom. Keep that in mind. And activate main. You may trash this character and give 1 active Dawn card to one of your leaders or characters. Then give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 3k power during this turn. Wow.
Insane.
Yep. Somewhere out there's a guy who's been hoarding Gordons and hoping for the day to sell them for more money. That day's never coming, dude. Like, this card has just made it so that day's never coming.
Oh, my pre-release stamped raise maxes are going down. My alt-art raise maxes.
You just fold. You don't raise.
All my raise maxes. No, but like, when I saw this, that's the first thing I thought of was like, oh, this like complete outclasses the cards, but maybe in a meaningful way. I can't fully tell if it's good or bad. Like, I love this card personally from like, just like, it's gorgeous. It's Ace, Sabo, and Luffy. It's such a red card. Like it's full of all this great play. It's super flexible because it's a 2K.
Yeah.
The fact that it's a 1-drop, it's a character too. Like I feel like red hasn't quite had this like same showing it used to back then with like old school OP03 Zoro. This looks like, you know what, let's bring it back. Let's have lots of really low statted units that have like high impact, high flexibility and see where that goes. It's got basically every red effect in one card.
Yes.
This is every red card in one card.
I dare say this is a new red staple.
Yes.
This is amazing for Shanks, like control Shanks, right? Because they've been running the building snake. This is like so much better. This is so much better than building snake.
Yeah.
And like Shanks' problem is that you have bricks. This is not it's so good. It's so good even in Zoro where your 2Ks right now in Zoro, you're kind of like, okay, yeah, I'll run Sanji. Like I use it sometimes. Or new red staple.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's got you can play it the previous turn to set it up. It's just amazing. I don't even mind that's not type searchable because it's Dodon searchable, and I believe in Dodon. I believe in 2 cost Dodon. For those of you at home, like one thing to note is like they actually thought about this pretty carefully where this is not searchable by basically anything right now in a really funny way, which makes it actually quite balanced, but it's not searchable by like yellow garp. It's not searchable by a lot of things that look for certain names. It's very uniquely typed for that reason. The only thing I find is Dodon, which is almost kind of like to me like a narrative thing. It's like, aw, that's kind of cute.
It is really good. Yeah. But I think that's a good, like you said, it's a good way of balancing. I like this. I love this. Actually, I love this. I'm so excited. Like, I love this way of balancing where it's like, okay, we'll give you a really strong card, but you can't search it.
Yeah.
Right? You got to draw it. And the reason I like that is because I think knowing what hands to keep is a real skill. Knowing like, okay, I'm not going to be able to search this card, but I've got one in hand. Do I keep this hand? Or do I mulligan? And I might not see this. This is like an important piece. It's a 2K that I might need. Like, so I love introducing that into the game, and I love forcing people to make more decisions. And I feel like that's what that does. It's a real decision point on what to keep. And I think it's because it's so strong, it's almost like a must include. So it makes your deck more consistent in some ways because it's a strong card, and less consistent in other ways. Yeah. Which is a nice trade-off.
Oh, can't wait to see the alt art for this. It's gonna be gorgeous. People are gonna be racing for like playsets of this because it's like,
yeah.
It's gonna be great.
I mean, this is a total aside, but I'll just briefly say I'm always a fan of like there's different like schools of balancing. I've always been a fan of the school of balancing that says you make everything very strong in its own way. And instead of like nerfing things, you actually just bring everything up in terms of power level. Rather than trying to push everything down, I'm much more of the school of we just make really OP things and everybody gets an OP thing. This card appeals to my balance philosophy, is what I'm trying to say.
I would agree, It's like OP cards that aren't game-breaking, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So here we've got Mr. 3 Galdino, in case you didn't know that was his actual name. Blue, 2 cost, 1K, cross-killed, and former Baroque works. This effect can be activated when this character is rested by your opponent's effect. You may trash this character. If you do, draw 2 cards, and it's a blocker. Isn't that cool? If they try to bypass it by resting it, you can gamble on drawing 2 cards to like get the counter too.
It's like you want to, yeah. If you follow me on Twitter, I've been a huge lover of Buggy. I love playing Buggy right now. I think it's such a fun deck. Whether or not it actually makes its way more into the top 16, some people are making it up there. I'm not sure. But I personally love it, and I think this is a very key piece for it because in Buggy, there are a lot of times where you actually do want like a 2-cost blocker because on your 10-dawn turn, you want to play Buggy, you want to peel off, and you also want to play a 2-drop too. Like you want to have these really overloaded turns where your 5-dawn is for Buggy and the other 5 are to do really flexible plays.
Yeah.
This is actually perfect for that because one of the downsides to playing Buggy is that Hody will rest 2 cards. You have to play around it a lot. It's not terrible, but this gives you a way to play something down that lets you kind of circumvent those things around like GY Law and like Hody that help you kind of stay alive with this bigger hand size where people still can't threaten you quite for lethal if you just manage to just like plan just right. People don't want to risk it. So I personally like love this card for that reason. And despite it not being a 5-drop, later in the game when you start dropping these, it actually doesn't matter because your board is full enough of 5 costs that Buggy is always going to fill your 5th slot anyway. So let's say the previous turn you block with something, you play out your Buggy and then maybe play this, and the next turn you play another Buggy or something. So I love this card. It's not Galdino searchable. I'm okay with that. You know, how many other cross-skilled characters are there to really fill in the cast at this point in it? But Buggy lover, I love this, and I hope there's more of it in PRB02.
Yeah, I agree. Like this is so great. I've been testing Buggy. I've been testing a very similar list to yours, which is such a great list. And like this is like one of the ways. Like so, I was testing a lot of like GP into Buggy, UP into Buggy, and one of the ways that I kept winning as GP, but also something that was like my fear was like I just barely kill them. They get like the 10 cost, maybe a second one, and then I kill them. And how I kept losing was when they established a 10 cost or 2, and then they just drop blocker. And I'm like, oh no, I have no way to deal with this. And now even if I rest it, they might just draw into counter. So I love this in terms of like it really just accelerates Buggy in a way. Like you drop your 10 cost, and now you're like, okay, time to just block her up. And like with your build with the stage, you can just find this. You can just like
spam
cycle it out, and it's like, okay, I got a couple 10 costs now I just block her up. What are you gonna do, rest them? Like what are you gonna do, try and pop it? You can't like, oh, I love it.
And with the right cycling, all your remaining deck is just 2Ks. So like you're like, oh, I know the last 10 cards in my deck are 2Ks, so like anything I draw is 2Ks.
With the Croc Mihawk, like you can't even field removal. So it's like resting was the only option, but now if you rest this, basically still get penalized, right?
Yeah, and I think like with your build, like you're saying, like if you've been doing a good job of putting your 2Ks to the bottom, like for something like it's actually it's so big brain.
It's crazy because I do that so much on that deck that like people are so surprised that my hand is all 2Ks at the end. It's like, because I've actually been bot decking 2Ks so that they're coming back up at the very end. Like when I need them all, they're all there.
It's so crazy. Like with the stage is it's so much fun because you're trashing like bricks to get them out of your deck, and then you're just like cycling through inside your whole deck. And like it's actually I love it, and this is so in line with that. So it's super exciting.
And sick art again.
Yep.
Next up, we've got Nami, purple, 2-cost 2K, Straw Hat Crew, 1K counter on play. Look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Straw Hat Crew type card other than Nami, and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Awesome trigger. Play this card. This is like one of the best triggers for any searchers that you can have.
Yes.
This card's insane. It's so simple. It's insane.
Yes.
You want to take this way? Like, I feel like as the Straw Hat Luffy specialist, like
I mean, everyone's been saying this is Nico Robin support, is what I heard, right? Because of the trigger, because you can also trash it with the trigger. I don't know how valid that is. But this is just like, I don't know why they made this. Like another purple Straw Hat Searcher that's also a trigger. This is just really, really good. I've been trying to think about like whether you play it in GP or not. I'm not sure, to be honest. And also in UP as well. Like there's potential to play it. Again, because like you're stacking your life, right, with Mom. So you can like put that in your life, you can trigger it, and then you can search for something else. So there's some like cute things you can do. But I just like, to be honest, my brain hasn't processed this card yet because it just feels like so unnecessary.
Like you have 12, like you have 12, 16, you have like 100 searchers for Straw Hats already, and you're like, here's more, and then the search can find this, that can find this. Like, man.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And for all the Nami collectors at home, like you've got another alt art you got to pick up now.
Yeah.
That's another like $200 on the set you got to spend.
It's very straightforward.
Yeah.
Okay, I actually really love this one. We've got Shiryu. This is clearly for Blackbeard. Cost 5k, 1k counter. If your leader has the Blackbeard Pirates type, this character gains blocker and +4 cost, making it much harder to remove on KO, which you can control because it's a blocker. If your leader has the Blackbeard Pirates type, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 4 or less, right? Basically the Lucky Roux alternative for cost.
Yes.
That's cracked. And also the art goes so hard.
Yeah, the art's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, Lucky Roux was good in red. Lucky Roux in Blackbeard, which already has so much power once they stabilize. This is like the perfect stabilization tool too, which I think is a good thing considering that it's had a tougher spread since, you know, kind of recent meta shifts that, you know, I'm not normally a set ago, I would have been mad at this card. You know, you spoiled this card for me. I'd be like, what do you mean Blackbeard? And then I'm like, okay, no, I can see why, like, you're giving it more stabilization tools. It's pretty fair. It's really hard to remove. And then, yeah, it's nice that the turn you play this, it competes with Burgess, so at least you're not, like, getting this out for free and doing all sorts of, like, super aggressive stuff with it. It's kind of competing with another turn. But I think what kind of pushes us a bit over is the two Kuzans.
Yeah.
So the ability for the two Kuzans to find this is really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's really what it would serve as. Like, I actually don't know if there's room for it in the current lists, just because, like, there's, like, a lot of set cards in Blackbeard. Like, once you get in your Burgesses, your Kuzans, your 10 drops, your stages, your searchers, you don't have a lot of room left. And then there's just a few choices there. People have been leaning towards, like, Tempest Kick and the 7 drop. I've been seeing that quite a lot. And then you're running your 8 2K, so you've got your Caribou, who's now replaced a 2K, along with Stronger. So there's not a lot of room. So it might be the kind of card that you just throw, like you're saying, a couple in.
Yeah.
And then it's just another option that you can bring back with your Kuzan.
Yeah, because I'm seeing people run, like, emotional support copies for San Juan Wolf and for Katarina Devon.
Yeah.
And I think because people want to be able to have those chances, like, oh, if the situation happens and this is in my grave, I can now use my two Kuzans, two Kuzan types, to try to start pulling this back in an interesting way.
Yeah. And importantly, because of the extra cost, it doesn't get rested by a lot of the typical culprits, which lets you keep a card in hand, so you might not have to actually use, like, a leader effect or something like that as well. Which is really, really helpful, because you always have to be aware of that. Like, even if you're bringing out Vasco shots or something like that, there's a lot of ways of getting around it. So I think it's a valuable card for Blackbeard. But I would still say, like, I'm not sure if there's room in the current lists, because that's been a struggle. Even with the new starter deck cards, like, I was trying to make a Blackbeard list, and I was just like, I'm kind of just with the same list.
Yes.
Because there's no room, because if you want to do what the deck does, there's so many requirements.
Yeah, so I've been noticing, like, you know, our friends that play Blackbeard started to lean in toward, like, they try to hyper-focus into, like, the day of. Kind of like what you said about Bonney. They're like, what do I think is going to happen in Toronto or Vegas? And then how do I hyper-optimize my Blackbeard list for that? Because there's not enough space, which I think is, like, the go-why thing we're talking about, which, you know, more power to it.
Yeah.
Man, I never want to clear Blackbeard's board ever. Yeah. I just never do anymore.
Like, my first thought seeing a card like this is, you know, if I want to black hole something on 4 Dawn, or, like, try to immediately kill it, I was like, maybe I just play this out and then see what other options come up later, and then choose what to KO based off of that.
I mean, that's true. Like, that could be, in a sense, it is like a, I mean, like, it is like a black hole in a sense, but it's like black hole, you can use reduction. So it's still more flexible, right? Like, so you can still reduce something and then black hole it, which you can't quite do with this. And so I still think that's part of the problem, is, like, when you're thinking of where to slot this in, like, you could slot it in for black hole, but you're actually losing versatility by doing that. And black holes already, like Blackbeards are cutting that. They're just running 2, if any. But yeah, I see what you mean. Like, it is also nice to have a body and then to have the choice and to be able to be like, okay, well, actually, I don't need to block. I'll just take it and I'll remove it using something else. I don't know, liberation. And now I've got this body here that I can do things with.
My thought is, like, this, I would like this probably with 6-cost Kuzan, because let's say, like, they swing, you block with 6-cost Kuzan, you bring this out, and now they're like, oh, do I now swing into this 2 to clear it instead of swinging at life?
Right.
And then you pop another one of their attackers, and then it's now a huge waste of your time.
Right.
Because you already blocked a swing with the 6-cost Kuzan, now you get this out, and now, like, do I have to clear this now? And if you don't, the Kuzan that they lost, they just got a new blocker for the next turn.
Yeah. That's true, and it does, like, I do catch a bit of a theme here, which is, it seems like they're kind of moving towards Blackbeard being less of, like, a pop everything and more of, like, a way of getting value and block. Like I do like the idea of making Blackbeard more of like a blocker up and get value and bring things back and like recur than just like I hope I can KO everything and then I play 10 drops after that.
That's just Koskuzan is scary, man. It scares me now.
Yeah.
It does fall in line with Blackbeard's personality, where it's just like try to sabotage as much as you can, and then at the very end just swoop in for the win, right?
Yeah,
that's true.
But with all these options, it feels like Blackbeard can always be relevant no matter the meta.
Yes.
Yeah.
Otama, yellow character. 2 cost, 0 power, land of 1/0, 2k counter. Activate main. You may rest this character and add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand. Up to one of your leader characters gains 3k power during this turn. And amazing trigger, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. Wowee. This almost completely replaces Tonoyasu that people have been trying to run, eh?
Oh, that's kind of thematic.
Oh, no.
That's kind of thematic. Obviously it's a 102K. I think yellow 1 has historically had not amazing 2Ks outside of the Hiyori. So I think this is a really great addition. And then obviously with the addition from the starter deck, which was like the new Kinemon, it's a target as well for 5 cost Momo, which is great because then you can do this, you can activate it, pick up the life, then immediately counteract that by putting it into life with a trigger, by the way. So you can circumvent blockers too. I think it's what a 2K should be. It's flexible. It has good combo potential with Wano cards. It's not going to really change anything about Wano typing and about like how Yamato plays, but definitely like it's exactly what 2K should be. It's flexible. It's interesting. It combos.
Yeah. Do you think BY Namis would run this?
Ooh, interesting, because
they would draw, right?
Yeah, you get the draw.
It's another way of kind of getting the draw and then making your leader big to put pressure.
Yes, and then someone has to swing into this. If they don't have a searcher in play, then they do have to swing into it, like with their leader swing, which would be... I guess you wouldn't be swinging... I guess, because then you potentially have to not have to use Nami ability even on that turn.
Yeah.
Maybe Nami runs a 1/0 package and just keeps healing it back.
Yeah. Because the trigger's like nothing to laugh at either. Like, because if people try to put up chump blockers, the fact that you put this in your life so that if they swing, you get to rest their chump blocker is kind of meaningful because you kind of put them in this checkmate position where like, can you set up another blocker on top of the one you have to make it so that this Otama trigger doesn't win me the game next turn?
Right.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what we're trying to do with Yamato. It's just creating these like check conditions, basically. These checkmate conditions where like, can you do this? Can you kinetically swing at me?
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah.
Very insightful. I think that brings us to the end of our current list of spoilers. Next up, what are we talking about?
LD01 or LP01 in, I think a distribution has called it LP01 as well. So LD01 or LP01, wherever it's called, it could have a different legal name. Legal name between EU and the West. But yeah, I thought this was pretty cool because I've been kind of theorizing something like this for a while. Actually, it's like I thought Bandai should make kind of dual deck style packages where you get multiple decks and people can play with each other at home. Then it makes it a little better for like, maybe if you buy 2 of these because you want to make a play set of things inside of it, then maybe you have one friend that wants BY, the other friend who wants Zoro, and then you can kind of split the things together. Burying the lead here, which is the really cool thing about this, is like 2 huge things. One, new alternate leaders for these 3 leaders that we obviously love, that are the 3 Straw Hats we love. And then also there's this extra pack that goes inside that is really what we should talk about, and kind of the big part of this, which is they've announced that there's an extra pack, 3 extra packs that come in this set of LP/LD01 that are meant to support these 3 decks, that are all pre-existing cards from the game. And luckily, they are reprints of cards that we've historically found to be hard to find. They're saying there's 15 different cards you can get. Each pack has 5 unique cards in it. One theory is that each pack is 5 of the same color, so like 5 green cards in one, 5 red in another, 5 blue in the other.
Right.
But we've seen 3 spoilers already for cards that are going to be in these packs, and there's going to be Secret Zoro in here. There's going to be Red SR Dragon, Blue SR Nami from the latest OP11 set. So those are 3 cards that are actually like pretty expensive and hard to get, already announced as being reprints in LP/LD01, which is really great. Like that's like $20-$30 worth of like One Piece cards already in that alone in the form of reprints. So like we're really seeing Bandai kind of commit to this whole like reprinting product to help it be more accessible to people and for people at home to try out some of these higher power meta cards to see which ones they really want to invest in and try out. But I mean, I think this is sick for new players, and I love bringing new players into the game. So I think this is like the perfect product for them.
Yeah, I'll just echo that. I mean, it's nice. I hope, like, I hope that the packs are like you've said, and that they just contain like 5 useful cards, and that it's guaranteed. Because it would be just nice to have like some starter decks for actual starters.
Yes.
Like, I'm so tired of like, it's like they call it a starter deck, but then it's like they're sold out on day one.
Yeah.
Every competitive player is there with their like shopping cart of starter decks.
Like at Walmart, they're just like arm around the whole like sleeve,
like the whole thing, and like just taking the display home. Like, and I swear I've been at like places like 401 Games, and it's like mommy's there with little Timmy, and like he wants to start playing One Piece cards, and they're like, oh, but we've got a starter deck. It's like, great, how much is it? $80. It's like, oh, great, and actually you can't do anything with it because everyone just wants like one card from it.
Yeah.
Or everyone wants to open a PRB pack, right? So it would be nice to actually have some starter decks that are just like, they're for starters. They'll be in stock. Hopefully the price doesn't like balloon out like crazy. And just a nice way to get people into the game, as well as like introducing some more stock for some of these cards that are kind of hard to find, and bringing the prices down a little bit.
Yeah, and the fact there's no like random alt-art chase card in here, I kind of like, because it's like, oh man, so that also creates its own kind of universe too, where people are buying it to chase.
Yeah.
If honestly, as you guys know, I love anti-holo cards. If they have like a non-holo Secret Zoro, I'm getting 4 of them. Like I love anti-rarity. Like I have a playset of non-holo restand laws, of the Sanji 2K, of the Naruto. Like, give me the non-holos if you have them.
I go and see like I open your binder when I'm at your place. It's like all non-holo cards. Like,
look at my non-holo Kaido, my non-holo SR Dopey.
Yeah, we like matte, non-glossy.
I look. But yeah, I'm hoping that. Okay, I know you at home probably are not hoping that, but you know, just I'm okay either way. But
you know what I'm excited about for this is the how to play guidebook. I don't know about you guys, but I just like reading guidebooks about
literature,
about things that I enjoy, right? And I don't know if One Piece really has one, except like PDFs of the rules and stuff like that. But I don't know.
That's true. It is better than like reading the back of like those folding up mats, which has like kind of the rules, but not really. Like you still have to like immediately consult the PDF, which is like a thesis. Like it's so long, so it would be nice to actually have. And I'm not sure if they're going to do it. Based on one of the things we read, it did sound like it's saying each deck gets its own guidebook. I'm not sure if that means like they just get a copy, so you're getting 3 copies, or if they're actually going to give you some insights into the deck and the color, which would also be kind of cool. I'm not sure.
But each deck gets its own guidebook to help you.
That does kind of imply that it would be like for the deck, but you know, sometimes when these things get translated,
I
can just, it's funny because I think we're filming this during the week that it's a break week for the manga, and I just imagine someone's like during a break week of the manga, they're just like, well, I need One Piece to read. They're like, well,
we got One Piece at home. It's a TCG guide.
TCG guidebook for break week.
I love how like guidebook here is capitalized. It's like guidebook TM. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the guide.
Oh, like the old school like Game Informer magazines and stuff. All right, let's.
I hope the play sheets are nice. The usual ones are not that great, and they're also small. I don't know. Have you guys seen the starter deck ones?
Yeah, they look pretty nice, right?
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
They look,
you got them. I think you got to pick up a bunch. Yeah. These ones.
They're a step up.
Yeah, so it's like the art is kind of fun. It's I would like that it's not as folded, but you know, you got to make it accessible somehow. But
laminate
it's more playable. You can actually put the cards on it.
Is it bigger than the?
It is bigger than the usual starter deck one.
Yeah, so it looks like roughly 1424.
That's all I wanted, is it to be the right size to play on. So like you're not like you can actually play on it. Yeah, without your cards falling.
That's sick.
Right? It was funny. I was playing in one of the beginner events, and they were like, "You got to use everything out of the box." So I used the play sheet out of the box, and I'm like, "My cards don't fit." It didn't make any sense.
Oh, you were farming beginner events here?
No, I was trying to get a starter deck because it's impossible to get. And then I felt bad that like everyone is a beginner. I'm like, what am I doing here?
Sometimes you just need a second buggy deck, man.
Right?
That's what you got to do. So yeah, that's very exciting. You'll have more accessible cards, more accessible SRs, and hopefully decks for actual beginners. In general, we've got so many releases that Bandai talked about in their latest announcement. No bans, no restrictions, but lots of releases and reprints coming up. So if you play the game like we do, it's a lot to catch up on, but it's also very exciting just seeing everything come through.
Yeah, no, I'm like so excited because like my biggest thing is like I know a lot of people are One Piece fans first, not like and they're getting into this card game for the first time ever, and they think it's expensive, and I don't blame them for that, because if you're a first time TCG player, like it is expensive to get into, because you know, if you think of it compared to buying a game, like buying Expedition 33, for example, right, which you love, you know, it's actually more expensive to get into this game because of how many things you have to buy for it, rather than like a lot of people are expecting to just buy like a few things and they'll start playing the game. Affordability, I think, is a huge part, and I think if they can solve that, I think it brings in a lot of really great people into this game who want to be playing this game with us and enjoying One Piece even more every week. So I'm super excited that Bandai has this like top of mind and as their focus as they're reprinting all that stuff. Buyers at home, beware. Just make sure you're always being mindful with how you spend because of these reprints and stuff. You know, never hurts to be patient and just like be thoughtful about how you spend on cards and stuff. You know, PRB02 being a great example if you've been watching some of the things they've been announcing. So pay attention to those spoilers because like it'll be big news.
Yeah. Man, I'm just so excited. Like, we're getting like reprints. Like, it seems like the game's getting more affordable. There was no ban list, which I think is a good thing. This is the most fun meta I've played in a long time.
Yes.
There's so much theory craft. Like, this is some of the most fun I've had in One Piece. I'm so excited for the future.
Like, is this how Japan's been living this whole time? Because I am like so having a blast. Like day one, I played Buggy and Top Locals, and I was like, wait, is this the power of like being completely out of the gate and no one knows what I'm doing? It's like, that's amazing. So much fun.
Yeah. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of this episode. Next week, look out for more discussions about how the meta has been constantly shifting since OP11 started. I love that about the West, where we're kind of just like, no, let's not immediately start with the best deck in the format. Let's start countering it and then see what we can see what we can do, create our own BDIF at home, and then have another one responding to that. It just goes in like all these cycles. It's wild.
Oh yeah, wild. I love that.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun to talk about. But tune in next week for that.
But also
next
weekend.
Next weekend! Oh my gosh, that's a Toronto regional where we're going to be streaming and casting. So please tune in for that. We'll add all the links to everything below down here. I don't know. We just literally opened up a bunch of product today that we got to help out with all the casting. If you want to grab some of that. Yeah.
Like literally.
In the box, like just half open. Yeah, we're so
not
excited.
Sponsored unless
unless here's my number.
Yeah.
So call us maybe.
Yeah, hopefully we can just continue to, do what we love and provide quality content. And if you don't think it's quality content, let us know and how we can improve. But we're so excited. We hope you'll be able to join us. Yeah, either in person or online. It'll be a super, super fun time.
Yeah.
Any last words?
Nope.
Well, that sounds kind of grim.
Like,
I have no counter?
Yeah.
Completely changing the tone here.
It's all breaks.
Yeah. That's game?
Ready to 2K last life. And,
I guess that's my last words. It's all breaks.
Do I just forfeit here? Yeah.
It's all bricks all the way down.
Cool. All right. FF, next. See you guys next time.
Go next.